Hey, it's Joel. I've done a lot of traveling lately, and I know that I haven't had a lot of videos out, and I've been kind of radio silent on some social media platforms, so here is me giving you an update on stuff. Stuff will include OpenRC and Simplify3D. Stuff will also include trips to Matterhackers, trips to Printed Solid, and trips to Gillette. Then, a trip to Huntsville, Alabama for Thinkercon. Can't wait to tell you all about it right here on 3D Printing Nerd! All right, first let's talk about this. I'm old and I can't keep track of stuff, and so I have my notes right here to help me keep track of stuff. Let's start with, according to my notes, video updates and OpenRC. The OpenRC project is nearing completion. I just released a video where I talked about adding the new motor mount so that the GT2 belt was tight and the axle would spin when the remote was up or down, going forward or reverse. Since now, I'm just actually looking at the car right there. I'm not going to show you yet, but it's all put together. It's actually ready to drive, but I have to get my camera person ready, and I have to get my investor ready, and I have to get Robert, who did all the electronics, ready, and we have to find a place to run it. And the goal is to get it going soon. Sooner rather than later. That's the goal. I don't know when exactly that will happen, but it should be before the end of the year. Might be a nice December surprise. As far as Simplify3D goes, I did release that video where I talked about the problem where profiles inadvertently couldn't be downloaded to a machine. I talked about how Japman actually has had the problem for 2 or 3 years. A lot of other people actually surfaced and told me they've had this problem as well. And it reminded me to check my email, an email which I got from Simplify3D back in 2016, I believe. And in that email, they had said that they limit the number of profiles people can download as a measure to protect against piracy. And I thought, hey, how many profiles can someone download before they hit this limit? And that email was never replied to. I think what I'm going to do next is try to brick my install of Simplify3D, which would be me just attempting to download each and every profile using their configuration wizard. That would mean I would get to a certain point that I would have counted, and I could tell you, hey, I got to this many profiles, and now I can no longer download any others. If you want to try it yourself, of course, you can go to the configuration wizard and just start downloading profiles. However, I can't advise you to do that because you may brick your ability to download new profiles as well. That's where we stand with Simplify3D. Now let's talk about travel. We've been traveling, oh my gosh, like crazy. There's been a whole bunch of trips and there's still more to come. First one I want to talk about is my family's trip to Disneyland. We were very fortunate to be able to head down to the Magic Kingdom, have a few days in Disneyland. It was a lot of fun, and the Guardians of the Galaxy version of the Tower of Terror is wonderful. Plus, using the Disneyland app, you can get the Max Fast Pass or whatever it is, where instead of going to the ride to get a Fast Pass, you can book it on the app. It saves you a lot of time. We had a lot of fun, and it was good to take that time out with my loving family. I was home for a hot second, and then I headed right back to Southern California to visit Matterhackers. Matterhackers and I were going to make a video about a project using the Shapeoko XXL and some 3D printed parts and some resin. We're currently in the middle of that project. I have the piece here. They've sent it back, and I just have to do some finishing stuff to it before I can show you the process and how it worked out. It's going to be a really cool video, and I'm honestly telling you right now, I'm going to save my pennies because I want to purchase a Shapeoko XXL. It looks really cool, like a really fun CNC platform. Also, while at Matterhackers, we were at lunch, and I was talking with Alec, and he talked about a way where he hacked in some G-code for an Ultimaker to do continuous printing of an object that they needed hundreds of. And so the G-code would allow for the print head to knock the part off the platform and then to start printing again. I thought it was fantastic. I'd only gone down to Matterhackers to shoot one video, but we ended up shooting that one as well because I was genuinely interested and I thought it would be good for you to see. Also took a trip back east to Printed Solid in Newark, Delaware. While at Printed Solid, we had planned to make a video on the MakerBox. I think the MakerBox is an interesting subscription service. It's not for everyone, but I think it is for a number of people who could use that sample, that variety. I think it's a good idea. So we were out there to do a video on MakerBox and give a tour of Printed Solid because it's been 2.5 years since I'd been out there. And in 2.5 years, a whole lot has changed out there. So what we did is we filmed a fun little video. But while there, it was kind of fun because I had some ideas for some other videos. Because Matt is well-versed in the chemical engineering and material engineering world. So we talked to him about 3D printing filaments, reasons why you print with some of them, and reasons why you wouldn't print with others. I also talked to Dave Randolph at Printed Solid because he's been building enclosures for 3D printers for 8 years. And let's be honest, Bill and I, we had a lot of fun building that enclosure for the CR10S, but you know, there's a lot of things we probably could have done different. So we talked to Dave and we got 5 tips for building your own 3D printed enclosure or 3D printer enclosure. One of the things I do want to mention, what's really cool about this is the MakerBox videos, of course, is sponsored video on the channel. But when talking to Matt and talking to Dave, they weren't coming at me as a Printed Solid employee or owner. They were coming to me as an enthusiast. And we had a conversation as enthusiasts. Like I said, when I go somewhere to film a video, if I have another idea and someone's up for it, we're just going to record it. And that's actually how this next video was born, because while I was going to Printed Solid, I hired Sean to come out with me, and I got a text saying, hey, did you bring the tripod plate for the monopod? And I said, shoot, no, I didn't. And he said, oh crap, no, I didn't either. What are we gonna do? Wah, wah. And then it's almost like we both had the idea at the same time, and we said, we could just 3D print it. Well, that's what we did. We got a model off Thingiverse for the tripod plate, and then we printed it. And then we got the hardware and we modified the screw to fit in the tripod plate, and then we put on the camera and then we used it and it was great. So of course that will be a video as well. This is actually something that I've kind of been hinting at and telling certain people about. I didn't want to circulate it until I knew I could talk about it, but Procter & Gamble through Gillette hired me to bring a crew out to the Gillette Shaving World headquarters in Boston, Massachusetts, to film a video about their Razor Maker. So the Razor Maker is this thing that Gillette's doing that lets people customize the razor handles and they customize the hardware on top of it. And it's been a very fruitful, wonderful campaign. A lot of people think it's kind of cool, and a lot of the marketing around it has been a lot of, you know, flashy colors and you know, this is for this person, or this razor looks cool. And I really wanted to find the story behind it, and I'm really, really glad I did, because I spoke with Rob and Donato and they were there at the inception. It's almost like Razor Maker is this little startup company being driven inside of a large corporate entity. And it was really cool talking to these people. It was really cool to see how it's made with those Form 2 printers. And I can't wait for you to see that video. That's going to be a lot of fun. Just finding the story and finding other people who have this passion for creating and for making and using 3D printing and various other digital fabrication techniques. It's inspiring to hear their story. So that will be something that comes to you. That's going to be amazing, and I can't wait for you to see that one. Finally, there's a good chance you're going to be watching this while I'm on an airplane flying to Huntsville, Alabama to be a part of Thinkercon. Destin from Smarter Every Day invited me out to Thinkercon, which is a convention of educator creators on YouTube, and it's sponsored by YouTube, and there's other sponsors as well. But the idea is bringing people who teach or who inspire others to learn via the YouTube platform or other social platforms. They're going to come out and creators are going to gather, and we're going to collaborate, meet each other, make connections, meet others who are coming to the convention. It's going to be a really good time. And originally I could go, and then I couldn't go. And then talking with Destin and talking with Bob from I Like to Make Stuff, it was apparent this is something I shouldn't miss. So I'm going. I will be there. And I'm really, really looking forward to seeing Bob again, because I haven't seen Bob in forever. But I'm really looking forward to meeting Destin. He seems like a really good dude, and I've never met him before, but we've had some conversations, and I look forward to shaking his hand. Other people that are going to be there, I mean, there's a ton of people that are going to be there, but Bobby Duke's going to be there. I really want to meet that guy. Diana Cowan, the physics girl, we follow each other on Twitter. We've interacted a bit, but I've never actually met her in person. Also, Alan Melekjanian, something. I don't know how to say his last name because it's a lot of letters, but you might know him as Captain Disillusion. He's going to be there. And it's interesting because when I was at Adobe on the After Effects team, After Effects had this release that had these boxes on the introductory screen, and Captain Disillusion tweeted about how those were essentially a sign of end times for him. So we had a few conversations, and so I don't know. I'm going to go up to him and introduce him as the guy that talked to him about the boxes in After Effects, and we'll see if he slaps me across the face. One of the people I'm really interested in meeting is Anne of All Trades, or Anne Briggs. She's actually local to me, as she's like 30, 40 minutes away. It's crazy. We've talked on Instagram before about meeting up and combining her style of making on the farm and maybe seeing if 3D printing can augment some of the stuff that she's doing. Look for that in 2019 when we can find some time to actually get together and bang out some pretty cool projects. But for now, it's crazy. We both have to fly 3,000 miles to meet and shake hands. And finally, the person I am most excited to get to see again at Thinkercon is Ren. On Twitter, you know him as Surrender, and he is one of the motion graphics artists at Corridor Digital. Wonderful group of people that are making some really incredible content. But Ren recently made a rocket comparison video where he talked about you don't really understand just how big the Falcon Heavy rocket is. It's huge, and using motion graphics and computer animation, he was able to display that in a scale that we can understand. In fact, he did this with the universe. You've seen those GIFs or those videos where they just show moon, earth, sun, and they just go next to each other, and it's hard to get a sense of scale when you get to Alpha Centauri or Betelgeuse. So what he did is he made a video, but he used a scale that we're familiar with, and it was another wonderful video. I highly suggest you subscribe to the Corridor Crew channel, and I highly suggest you get the chance to meet Ren. I honestly just can't wait to see him again. He's got a really special high five just waiting for him. There we go. That's a really quick channel update. I'm sorry travel's been just crazy, but we've got a lot of really cool videos in the pipeline. We have a lot of really cool stuff coming up that I can't wait to show you. And I still have some printers and prints that need some love, and you'll get to see it right here. Big thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for the support on Patreon. And a big thanks for everybody that just leaves a comment down below. Don't forget to hug each other more. I love you guys. As always, high five.